I saw a troubling article in the Australian Jewish News this morning, which I think was also reported in the mainstream media, about a family in the northwest of Victoria flying a Nazi flag proudly in front of their home for all to see. It caused major uproar and of course condemnation, and I believe it has since been taken down. But apparently the excuse was that they have German ancestry. Now there's been a wave of these stories coming out lately, people dressing in Nazi uniforms, Nazi memorabilia being sold, flags flying high. And it's so distressing to think that after such a relatively short time since the Holocaust survivors still here with us, thank God. People can forget what has occurred. They can be so bold and brazen to fly a Nazi flag. Do they really not understand what that symbol means and what pain and fear perhaps it causes for those who were actually in the Holocaust? And I think there's almost a hint to it in our parasha this week, a similar concept. We start the new book of Shemot, and it says that there was a new king who rose in Egypt, a new pharaoh, who didn't know who Joseph was. He didn't know Yosef. And you think to yourself, 1 second, what's going on over here? He didn't know Yosef was. Yosef's the legend, the person who came and saved Egypt through their distressing times when there was famines and really caused Egypt to remain, the superpower of the world at the time. How could you forget? And of course, one of the ideas is that the selective memory. He chose not to remember Yosef. He chose to follow his own agenda. And of course, that unfortunately led to the slavery of the Jewish people. And I think when we choose to forget things, and we don't recognize our history, and as human beings, one of the greatest things we have is the ability to learn from history. People make mistakes, people do the wrong thing. But when we don't learn from that, and when we forget, we actively choose to forget what has occurred, it can only bring problems. And I think this is happening again. We have to remind. Yizkor, one of the great things of the Jewish people is to remember our loved ones, remember the events that occurred to our people. And if we choose to forget things, it will cause, unfortunately, untold trouble and misery, unfortunately. And I think we have to teach us, and that's why having, Holocaust centers and Holocaust museums, people think, why spend so much money on that? Unfortunately, you see today why you need that. You need people to remember. And if we act like this Pharaoh and we choose to forget, as I said, look what happens, slavery occurs. So please God, people wake up, people remember, people are sensitive to what others have endured, and hopefully be much more considerate to all those around them. Wishing you and yours a Shabbat Shalom and a wonderful weekend ahead.